Hello and welcome to the Be Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. I am thrilled to welcome to the show April Diaz. April, welcome to the show.
Thank you, B. It's so good to be here.
Yeah, and look at all your festive cheer. I love it all behind you. Like it's so cool.
I
That
know.
tree is
I
massive.
can't see it, but when I look at you, I can see it, and then it's so beautiful and it makes me so happy.
Yeah, you've got a lot going on there. Like you should see my little tree. It's tiny because I've got a dog that just keeps trying to it's literally like this and it's purple. Like it's the wrong color.
No, that's perfect. Actually, purple is a very adventy color, so you're spot
Oh, is
on.
it? There you go.
Yeah.
And forgive me, I'm having Friday brain because it's Friday morning here. Where are you based in the US again?
I'm in Orange County, California.
That's right, the OC. One of my favorite
Yeah.
shows from years
So
ago.
we
And
are in your past right now. We're Thursday afternoon here,
yeah,
so I hope that
totally.
Friday is looking good.
Yeah, Friday's looking good. It's looking very sunny here, actually. Yeah. But
Lovely. I'm
April,
here for it.
you and I connected the other week, and I knew we were going to have a great conversation today. So I've been looking forward to chatting with you because you've got quite the story. But let's first things first, let's get through the formalities. So you're the founder and CEO of Ezer and Co, which is an executive coaching firm and it specializes in holistic leadership and developmental transformation. Love, love, love. Need more of this in the world. After 20 plus years in senior leadership, you built Ezer and Co to support and I guess for me guide high capacity leaders, in particular women, grow with clarity, purpose, and wholeness. And again, we don't talk a lot about wholeness as much. We talk about this well-being, but it's whole, right? And I love your thoughts on that. And your programs have impacted thousands of leaders across sectors. But what was the most fascinating was your, when you and I spoke and you booking in for the pod and I asked you what was one unique insight when it come to life, leadership, and or business. And this is the story, as you said, getting sick from mold and the subsequent diagnosis in 2023. And it reinforced a truth that your body is the basis for your whole life. And you also talked around your business was thriving pre getting unwell, and then everything kind of shut down. And then, well, not shut down, but do you know what I mean? Like it was like you got
Pretty close.
unwell, and then you come back. You've talked about being anti-fragile. So you come back now, and you're bouncing forward, and your business is booming. It's been quite the story. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is like, you know how some of the worst things that happen in your life you would never go back to do again, but they can become like the impetus for some of the most powerful and profound things that you've ever experienced. That's what this journey has been like for me. On one hand, I feel like I could just like start sobbing about the catastrophe and the nightmare of these last 3 years. And on the other hand, it's one of the things I'm already most grateful for. In my 46 years on this planet, this health journey has been the most transformative, the most disruptive experience of my life. So, yes, you said you kind of alluded to this. 3 years ago, this time, my business was just shooting out of a cannon. We're only 6.5 years old now. So we were still like real young 3 years ago. We were 3.5 years old. And I was like looking towards 2023, and the projections were like, I was like, we're going to do it. Like, we're actually going to live into this dream this mission that I have for this company. And we headed into the year. And again, things were just going so well. And
Too
on
good to
March
be true,
30th, 2023.
almost.
No, not too good to be true. I think that everything that happens to you can happen for you. And that's what this journey has felt like to me. It was like this was something that was happening for me. And again, never would have chosen it, will never want to do it again, would never wish it upon my worst enemy. But I actually think if we would have continued on that trajectory as a business, I'd be a very different person, and it would be a very different company than it is right now
Yeah.
and where we're headed. And I like where we're at now, and I'm so proud of it. And I feel so much more aligned and like at my deepest parts of me, this is what I'm supposed to build. But on March 30th, when I got sick, I mean, I was literally the healthiest, strongest, fittest, leanest I'd ever been in my whole life up until that point. And then my body completely collapsed. I was non-functioning for weeks. Literally would take a shower, have to go back to bed for like 3 hours. I'm like the Energizer Bunny, right? Like you probably
Yeah,
have a
I can
little sense of
feel
that
it.
already on this
I feel
call,
like
right?
you
Like
got more energy
I can
than
get more
me.
done before noon than like most people can get done in 2 days. Like I've got like this is my to-do list. Like there's so much I can just do 1,000 things, and I literally couldn't function. And I had over 200 blood tests done. I got referral after referral, countless doctor appointments, and couldn't figure out what was going on. And I finally got into the right doctor, and he said, "I think I know what's happening. I want to test you for these couple of things." Results came back a few days later, and it was like very conclusive. You have highly elevated mold toxicity. And I looked at my doctor and I, with like deadpan, said, "Listen, doc, I might be in my 40s, but I am not moldy."
Yeah, that would
He kind
freak
of
me out
snickered
because
at
you'd
me.
just be kind of like, what the hell? I feel
Yeah.
dirty. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it was very, I mean, it felt such a relief because it took taken me 6 months to get that diagnosis. And every doctor was saying, like, you're fine. You're fine. Like everything is normal. And I was like, I'm not normal. Nothing is normal. And so hearing it was like, okay, finally we have an answer that then I can have a treatment plan for. And so I started on treatment, and it was a part-time job. I was in IV therapy twice a week for 2.5 hours. I was doing 30 supplements a day. I changed my diet. I was seeing the doctor multiple times a month. And slowly my body started to recover. But we had to move because the mold was in our home. And I had over 200 medical claims in 2024. I saw the doctor more times than I can count, spent thousands and thousands of dollars, obviously had to move. It was catastrophic. And it literally the bottom of the business fell out because I couldn't function. Part of how mold impacts your body is not only does it destroy your GI tract and your gut, so your body is not absorbing the nutrients from what you're eating, but also has a lot of neurological impact. So I could not think. I mean, I could not string two thoughts together, and particularly anything that was like financial, creative, strategic, that required like a different part of my brain that wasn't like embedded into who I am. There was no way that I could do anything. And so that's pretty catastrophic for a business, right? Like
Yeah.
I couldn't have conversations with leads or prospects or, have this kind of conversation even. Like it was not possible. And it was so disoriented because I just kept going like, I know I'm a smart human.
Yeah, what's
I know
going on
I
here?
can do a lot of things. Nothing, it's not working. So yeah, it was a year and a half, closer to 2 years of incredibly intense treatment. My body started healing really truly once we moved out of the house because, if you're exposed to something continuously, you can't heal. That translates
So
across
how,
all sorts of.
sorry, can I ask you did like once you were diagnosed, were you like, where the hell is this mold? Like, where did you find it? Like, and how long had it
No,
been?
I knew where it was. We had had a flood in our master bathroom back in 2020, and that mold just started growing behind the cabinets and in the walls and underneath the floors. We lived in a condo that we were renting, and the owners of that property didn't repair it. And so the toxicity of the home just got to a certain point, and my exposure over time just kind of ended up reaching a tipping point. So I knew exactly where it came from. Mold grows where there's moisture, and so that was the thing.
Wow. And so then your family though, because you've got obviously your husband and the children, like did they like how would they like how did they avoid like not being exposed to
Yeah.
it as well? Because it could have been like
Yeah, there's a whole
catastrophic
like
enough for
medical
you.
thing there. It's
Yeah.
so weird, and I don't understand it. Long story short, I basically have some genetic disposition that makes my body
Yeah.
more compromised. And then there was also exposure issues. So like my kids would go to school all day long, and so they would not be exposed to the mold in the house. But because of the proximity of where that mold was, literally my side of the bed, my part of the closet where all the clothes were, and my office were all just in closest proximity to where all that mold was growing behind the walls and the cabinets and floors and stuff. And so I just was literally exposed probably 23 hours a day to that mold over time. And then you mix it with just my genetic disposition. I was just much more compromised than the rest of my family. They did also have symptoms, but nothing that was remotely close to how it happened with my body. So I just got to be the lucky one.
Oh my goodness. And so you said you know what, it reinforced the truth. Your body is the basis for your whole life. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go through this experience. You're at rock bottom. You're like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I can't think straight. I can't do anything, like, and then you've got this
yeah,
business. And you say
yeah,
you're up here, you drop down to literally rock bottom,
yeah.
and then you're working through recovery. So as you're working through
Mhm.
recovery, what was going through your head with regards to your business being such a,
Yeah,
like high energy, I get the feeling a bit type A like me, maybe not, but like just
yeah.
this kind of
No,
whole,
totally.
yeah, right. So like, cause that like it's taken all away from you and you've got no control. You lose full control of everything and all you've got to focus on right now is getting better.
Yeah.
What was that like, that
Yeah, I think there were a few
transition?
things that there are a few things that were really like anchors for me in that season. One is, I've gone through a lot of tough stuff before. Like I'm not immune, or this wasn't like my first rodeo with pain. But the only other physical connection that I had was I experienced infertility for years. And so that was like something with my body that I experienced where I was like, my body is not doing what it's supposed to do. But this was really different because I could function when I was going through infertility. I couldn't function with the mold. And it was in our home, and our home has always been like my safe space, my sanctuary. And so those two things being compromised and being attacked, I felt so unsafe and I felt so vulnerable.
Mm,
So the couple things that like really helped to anchor me was I remember one very specific moment about 6 to 8 weeks after I got sick. And we were in the middle of a launch for my company for a new round of our coaching groups. And a launch is a big deal. There's a lot of energy, there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of connecting, there's a lot of emails and calls with people. And I could not do any of it. But our coaching groups are about 6 months of a significant part of our revenue. And I found myself lying in bed during this launch, knowing, I mean, I just literally couldn't do anything. And I was sobbing in bed because I was so afraid of what was happening with the business. I knew I couldn't recruit the way that I needed to. And I just remember praying, like, God, you have to work on my behalf, even when I cannot work for myself. And that helped to be like both an anchor and a propeller for me through the whole thing because I was like, you know what? I really believe this business is mine to fulfill, mine to lead out, but was not my idea. Like I think this is a divine thing that I get to do. And so if this is something that was divinely given to me, it also has to be divinely fulfilled. And I want to be a huge part of the process. And I want to be one of, the reason why it helps to succeed. But this is not about me. And so like God needs to work on my behalf even when I cannot work. So that means bringing the right people, magical miracle things need to happen on my behalf because I'm not going to be doing it. That was one thing. The other thing is in our coaching framework, we have 6 parts that we walk leaders through. And it starts with physical because your body is the basis for your whole life, like you've
yeah,
said.
foundation.
And I have known that, huh?
It's the foundation.
What'd you say?
I said it's the
It's the
foundation.
foundation.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, it's the vehicle by which you do everything, right? Like
100%.
it's how you live and you move through the world. And so how your body is doing impacts everything. And
Yeah,
so I knew that cognitively, I knew that scientifically, know this from neuroscience, like all of this. I knew, but this experience helped me to know it on a totally different level. And so, I mean, I have deep compassion and deep empathy for especially women who are going through chronic illness
mm,
and major things that are happening in their bodies that they cannot control. So, what do you do with that? How do you still lead with your whole self? How do you still show up every day when your body is not doing what it needs to do? So, those are a couple of things that have been really important. I think the only other thing that I would add to this part is, the logo for my company is a butterfly. It's like the most beautiful transformation like in
yeah, I
nature
love
that I can
butterflies. Yeah,
identify with is that journey, right? It's
yeah,
like the thing. We love it,
yeah,
right? You go from the caterpillar and you go into the cocoon and then you show up like a butterfly. And that's what we all want. We want to fly, we want to be beautiful, we want to like soar to the heights. But the only way that you get there is through the damn cocoon. You cannot go from the caterpillar into a butterfly without the cocooning process. And this is what we all avoid like hell is the process of disintegrating, of becoming goo, of completely disorienting from what you once were and trusting the process that you will actually become something different on the other side if you do the work and if you wait. And the breakthrough has to happen by the butterfly. Like the breakthrough is not anything external. The breakthrough is what the butterfly does themselves as they literally break through the cocoon and fly. And so in the cocoon, when I was laying in bed, I mean, there was just literally nothing else I could do except think and sleep and pray and watch Netflix. And so there was a lot of cocoon time for me, like in my bed, right? Like literally cocooned up in
Yeah.
blankets where it was, what is this business actually here for? Like, if this is a divine thing that I get to lead out and work with these high capacity leaders, what are we actually here for? And it shifted the business entirely. So we're 3 years, fast forward from when Ezer was first shooting out of a cannon. And here we are again, and the same thing is happening, but it's an entirely different trajectory. And I love now what this business is for and how we have shifted to be able to serve women specifically, but really any high capacity leader who wants to expand their influence, but not for the sake of sacrificing themselves.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And so how different is the business from pre being ill and going into cocooning to now? Like
Mhm.
because it's such a like and there was something that came up for me when you were talking about the cocoon to the butterfly because I completely relate. And you said you just have to wait. And I also think that is we avoid it because we don't like the waiting and we don't like the we're wanting to keep up with everybody else and we're focusing on the external. And I know through my own cocooning, I've been cocooning like I've only just like the butterflies just really started to come out this year, and I had my own
Yeah.
burnout experience, very
Mhm.
different to I was
Yeah.
unwell. I was literally unwell, and I had to I had a lot of my own like not being able to get out of bed and different things that were happening because it was just years and years of like, sitting in stress and not letting and just not moving away, like just not dealing with it. And then, and I have had to battle the whole waiting myself at times when I'm just like, I can't physically, I'm exhausted, I'm recovering but I want to, and the minute I was pushing, I was just going backwards again. I was falling into a heap.
Yeah.
And so that waiting for me is just so relatable because when we actually finally surrender to waiting, oh my
That's it.
gosh, so much
Mhm.
opens up, doesn't it? The butterfly like
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
starts to go, okay, I'm getting ready now to come out. But the more you
Yeah.
resist the waiting, the longer you
Yes.
stay in this cocoon. I don't know what
Yep.
your thoughts are on
Yep.
that. Mm.
I 100% agree. And I think that part of why we see waiting as worthless is because we don't
Yes.
see what the benefits are on the other side of it. And it's not just the flying of the butterfly, but I think that there is so much internal capacity that gets built through waiting. And again, it has to be active waiting. And a lot of active waiting is the surrender of I'm not going to go back into this other shape and form. I'm not going to go back to
No.
the ways that I used to operate and do my everything, but I'm going to be different. That's what transformation is, right? It's a literal change in purpose. It is a shift from who you were to who you are becoming. And so the waiting process to become that has purpose to it, and we don't think it, and we shift our mindset around it. I think it can open up a whole lot more to so that waiting becomes more purposeful. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes complete sense. It does. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It so does. And so what do you see then
I mean, I don't
in
think any of us still like it though. Let's be clear. Nobody's like, ooh, let's wait. Like, no, nobody's a big fan of it. But if you can anchor it in some purpose and knowing that it's not to be wasted, I think that at least gives us the internal capacity to stay in the process.
yeah, it was one of the hardest things for me to get my head around and the waiting. But I don't know, like more recently, especially the last few months, I've just been really, really, I guess, at peace with it as well. Like in terms of
Yeah.
when things slow down or something doesn't go to plan, or there's like almost like you talk about God, I talk about the universe, and I take a sign from that okay, time's not right yet. And it's not because I'm not just waiting and sitting here going, oh, I'll just wait and it'll just happen when it's meant to.
Yeah, yeah,
It's more just,
yeah.
okay, well, what's the signal here? What am I learning from this? Or what am I being told here? Like, what do I need to understand here? And I think that, and I love your thoughts on this, especially with, high capacity leaders, like, that slowing down to speed up, that pausing, that waiting, it's like I can't do that. I don't have time. But it's like, yeah, but if you keep staying in this like hamster wheel or whatever, you're
Yeah, yeah,
actually you're actually slowing everything down. You're actually not
yeah,
moving. You're actually just staying
yes,
here. And you might think you're
yeah.
moving, but you're not. I mean, you must see
Mhm.
that constantly, or you must see that in a lot of your different clients when you first meet with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Because high capacity leaders, we want to go somewhere. We want to do things. We want to get shit done. I'm like on my strength finders, maximizers, and my top five. Like, again, I just want to maximize the shit out of everything. And so that was
I
actually
love
one of the
it.
things that was beneficial in this journey was I was like, I want to maximize this. Like, I don't want to waste one single thing from this journey because it has been too hard, too painful. We have lost too much to waste one single thing. And so I want to suck the marrow out of this journey so that it can actually be redeemed and restored and something good can come from it. So it was it was a little over a year ago. I was in like a business strategy session with some peers. And my body was still very much healing. I would say I was probably like maybe 60, 70% of my health. And so there was a marked difference. I could still feel like I'm not back. I'm not myself. And I I had a conversation with the CEO of this company and was really struggling. Like I was very emotional about we've lost so much. It's been a year and a half. I'm still sick. We have invested so much money to heal me. Like this is just insane. And he said, he actually did not know me very well at all. But he looked at me and he said, April, I think what's happening is you're an arrow. And an arrow in a bow has to be pulled back in order to be released and then find the momentum and like have the speed in order to hit the mark. And he said, I just see you as an arrow. And of course, I lost it. I was crying a lot, like a dum dum. I felt like a dum dum. But that has been a really powerful visual for me and maybe for your listeners too, right now, that if something is happening to you, what if it is happening for you and you are being pulled back so that you can actually be released with the kind of momentum and speed and direction and that really like that targeted purpose for you to accomplish something more and with ease, right? Because that pullback, like that, all of
Yeah,
that
effortlessly.
tension
Yeah.
in the arrow of that bow, that's a lot of tension. And it doesn't feel, I'm sure, like great. But then the release happens and it's like free. So you even talking about like the peace that you have felt, that feels like the right kind of results and benefit from waiting because it's like you're getting comfortable in a good way in your own skin to be able to be released into whatever is next. So that arrow imagery has been really important for me, and I'm feeling that as we're wrapping up um, this year, like it's a completely different way for me to approach this next year.
I love it. I just absolutely love that analogy. It's such a good analogy. And it's such a good analogy coming into the end of this year as well, right? Like, again, we were talking pre-show and you were like, I've purposely not loaded myself
I'm
up
not hustling this month.
leading
Mm-mm.
into the end of the year. And it's that pulling back. It's like, like
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
ready for
yeah,
heading into the next year.
yeah.
Are you all better
Yeah.
now, April? Like, are you like health wise? Is everything, are you on track? Like, is everything like, do you feel fully recovered?
I do. I do. I think this summer I really felt like something had clicked into a different gear. And then I was leading our signature leadership retreat. It's like a 2-day event, and there was a woman that was in the room. This was in November, and there was a woman in the room who I've known for 15 years, and I've coached her off and on over various seasons. And she was with me a year ago, when I was still very much in recovery. And at this retreat just a couple of months ago, we were on a break and she like leaned in on the couch and she looked at me and she said, "Hey, April." I said, "Yeah." And she goes, she had big old tears in her eyes and she goes, "You're back. Welcome back. It's good to have you back."
Oh,
And I lost it.
that
Like
gave me
tears just,
goosebumps. Yeah, it gave me goosebumps.
and it was like the first time for me where somebody that I've known for a long time and who has seen me in different seasons, like she knows what I am like, and she knew me when I was sick, and now she has seen me now. It's the first time that somebody who is like not with me every day, like my husband, he doesn't see the progress in some ways because he's with me all the time, right? Or like my dear friends, but she does, she's not like living life with me. And so yeah, I'm back, but I'm not the same. And so
That was not going to be my next question. How are you different? Like how, because you're your business, right? Like, in terms of
Mhm.
Ezer and Co, as a founder, you are the business. The business is you. It's a
Yeah,
living, breathing piece of you, right? Like there's you and then there's your business. And I look at a business like business biology, human biology, it's a system.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's an
So
ecosystem.
how are you different? Like what have you noticed?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I have told folks I'm fundamentally a different person than I was 3 years ago. This has deeply changed me. Um, I've never been unable to do the things physically that I want to do. I've always been able to rise to the challenge. I've always been able to push through or power through or suck it up or find a way. And that wasn't possible for a really long time. And
Mhm.
so, like, I think that there's just a deep compassion that I have for myself,
Oh, you're
a
amazing.
deep love for my body. And I feel so proud of her. I feel so grateful that she was able to heal. I feel this incredible connection to my body now that I didn't feel beforehand. Like I think I used to use and abuse my body,
Yes.
to like accomplish all of the things
Yeah, just
externally and
yeah, throw it all over
and
around.
figure it
Yeah.
out, right? But I wasn't embodied. So I am so much more of an embodied human and leader than I was 3 years ago. I listen to my body in ways that I never would have, even during the infertility stuff where it was also so intimate and personal. This has been a different level of knowing and of listening. And it's crazy because I mean you get this too. You built a massive business. You scaled something incredibly large and beautiful. And I know that Azer could be much bigger and make so much more money if I would work 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to do that anymore. I
No.
am unwilling to sacrifice my body or my family or my health
Yeah.
for something because it intrinsically goes against what this company is all about. I
Yeah.
cannot say your body is the basis for your whole life and beat the shit out of my body by not by not resting, by not recovering, by not paying attention to my
Yeah.
energy, by turning
Agreed.
off the computer and getting outside. Like I can't do that with integrity and authenticity if I'm not practicing it. And so those are just very different like approaches to my whole freaking life that I have now that I didn't have 3 years ago. And it
Yeah.
feels like it's a massive trajectory shift.
Which is amazing because, as high capacity leaders, the ability to do, or, it was like it was at the time you were like, what the hell is this? But it was almost like a gift in a way. And I look back even on
Yeah.
my own, and I had infertility whole journey on that too. We could do another whole pod on that. I feel like I haven't spoken about that on the pod before. So, who knows? I might tap you on the shoulder in the new year and talk to you about that because I think again, high capacity, there's a lot that happen, there's a lot of different things. But I think we as high capacity leaders really struggle with that whole, like embodiment at times and that like this striving and actually like I just believe that you'll be more successful. You're reshaping and you're redefining what success looks like for you and for your business. And so, yeah, but we still like go, I can't do this, and I refuse to do it. You
Yeah.
refuse to do it, but you were
Yeah.
gifted that to be like, no, there's more to this. And I
Yeah.
think that that's the big part that for me has I'm just like, yeah, that's where I go, ah, I get it now. I totally get it. But I also then go, when I look around, I go, oh, actually, I am successful and I'm going to be successful in my new form, in my new world,
Yeah.
and just trusting it
Yeah.
a lot more
I mean,
versus just that like constantly operating like that, you know?
yeah, and I think that's how we're taught about leadership, right? Like we're just taught like it's up and to the right, you climb, you hustle, you push through, you
Yeah,
power up, you suck it up, like you just keep going. And most of the time it's at the expense first and foremost of your body, but then your relationships, and it has a
yeah.
domino effect in every part of your life and leadership. And I think one of the questions that is also really anchoring for me is what's the benefit if you gain the whole world and you lose your soul?
Oh, so true.
And I'm just unwilling to do that. And I feel like just yesterday, we're recording this in mid-December, but just yesterday there was news of somebody that I follow publicly who has blown their life out. They were at the top of their game, literally, and doing incredible work. And I adored this person from a distance. And all this stuff is starting to come out now, and he has blown his life out. And he has a wife, and he has little babies, and he had this position, but there was an inattention to something in his leadership, and it he's ruined everything now. And he will probably never work again in the field that he's in. I don't know that his marriage is salvageable. I don't know what will happen in his relationship with his kids. He was arrested actually as well. So there's like all of this stuff, and the news is never not filled with those kinds of headlines
I
of
know.
leaders who have built this empire or this big giant thing, but it is not sustainable and they just blow it all out. And I'm unwilling to do that as well because I want to do this over the long haul. And I want my legacy to be more than just, wow, she worked 80 hours a week and built a $50 million company, but her husband hates her and her kids never want to talk to her and she died alone. Like what's the point of that? So
Yeah,
I'm convinced that there is a different way to lead, but we have to learn it because we are not taught it and it is not culturally praised to do leadership in a way that is very holistic. So that's the mission I'm on. And I want to work with these high capacity leaders because they are the ones that will both change the game for my kids' generation and the ones that will follow, but also they will stay in the game for the
yes,
fullness of however long their game is supposed to be, not burn out or not give up or not be
totally.
disqualified from the game
Yeah.
early. And so clearly, I'm a little passionate about all that.
No, I'm just as passionate. I could not agree more. Like, I see it too. People blowing their lives up and, like because they're not listening and their ego is just taking over. And there's just this like, if I get this, then I can get this, and then I can get this. I think we were just lucky enough to have an experience, very different, but experiences where it's like, hang on a
Yep.
second, whoa, whoa, whoa. And so it's like,
Yep.
okay, well, that's what that looks like. It looks foreign to me now. I look at it and go, oh. And so now it's like, how do you reshape it? And what do you, and then it's like, guiding and helping the leaders of the future reshape what leadership looks like in this new paradigm. And I think that comes back to that whole self, that whole being, that wholeness piece. It is,
Mhm.
excuse me, it is all interconnected. And we need the high capacity, we still need performance in leadership. But you can't take performance away.
Absolutely.
You need it. But it's but
No.
it's but how do you make it
No.
from a wholeness perspective versus just drive, drive, drive?
Yep.
April,
Yep.
I've got I've got I guess one last question for you. We're coming into the end of the year, I think we've got 2 weeks left. I'm a high capacity leader and I'm at this point where I'm at that crossroads.
Mhm. Yeah.
What advice would you give somebody with 2 weeks to go towards to the end of the year that they could do for themselves
It's a great question.
to be able to then, when they have
So,
their holiday break, reflect on it? Yeah.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you two things and you can choose your own adventure because I'm a big fan of
Yeah.
choice. So, the first task of a leader is to define reality. So if you're at a crossroads and you're trying to figure out, do I go this way, or do I stay here, or do I go backwards, whatever, you have to choose your direction, but it has to be first defined where is here. Otherwise, you can't put the GPS code in, right? Otherwise, you can't determine which route you're going to take. So there would be two things that Ezer offers for free for your listeners if they want to do it. First thing that I would say is we have a whole leader snapshot, and it is an assessment tool. It's a free 5-minute assessment tool, and it'll help you pinpoint where is here. Where are you right now in the
Mm,
6 parts of your holistic leadership? What is going on for you? It'll help you identify your blind spots. It'll help you define a way forward, give you real practical next steps that you can take. So you can go to our website, azerandco.com/snapshot. It's also on the homepage. You can take that, and it will literally give you kind of a pathway
yeah.
that you can see where you are struggling the most, what you need to pay attention to, and you can put together a little plan. The second thing that I would say is that we also offer a year in review. It's the 6th year that we have put together this kind of guide to walk through the year. And I am a huge believer that leaders have to reflect and they have
Agree.
to recalibrate and they have to rise, right? It's the whole story. So reflect on this last year, recalibrate where you're at right now so that you can rise moving forward. Do not plan your goals for 2025 or 2026 until you first
I agree.
reflect and recalibrate. Otherwise, you have no idea where the hell you're going next, and it'll be disconnected from current reality. So, our year in review is the most popular free resource that we have done, primarily because it's been available for the last 6 years. Thousands of leaders have gone through it. It's a guide you print out, and you can walk through it in an hour or 2 hours or half day, however long you want to give to it. And it's just I'm actually doing my full version tomorrow. I'm going to the beach, and I'm spending my
I
day
love
doing my
it.
own year in review so that I can move into this next year in a way that is really aligned and really connected.
Amazing. Amazing. And then how do we find out more about Azar? Where do we, so your website, which is
azerandco.com.
azarandco.com?
Yeah, EZER and
Yes,
co.com. It's a
yes.
little easy to mispronounce or misspell. So that's the best place to go. You can find me on LinkedIn, certainly, and on Instagram. But yeah,
Amazing. Amazing, amazing. April, thank you so much for your time. It's been a real honor and what a fascinating story. And I've got all the good vibes going, feeling inside of me that you're going to have a profound 2026. It's a 1 year too, by the way. You know this probably. We're coming out of a 9 year cycle. So I'm really excited about next year. So I am encouraging everyone to do the Where Are You Here and year in review. I'm going to do the year in review. I've done the Where Are You Here. And
yes.
we need more trailblazers like you and including my mission in reshaping life, leadership, and business. So thank you, April, and wishing you a happy festive season.
Thank you, Bee. It's really a gift to be here with you and to your audience. I hope that this serves them well.
Thank you. Take care.